right here.
Oh, I'm excited about this one.
So excited. The one and only Antoinette Robertson in the building. Coco from Dear W.
Yes.
Dear W. White People. Dear W. I have my little acronyms. DWP. Dear White People. Netflix's hit show. Oh man, welcome to the Grio Live.
Oh my God, thank you for having me.
It's exciting.
Yeah, really exciting. You must be riding on a wave of just happiness right now. The show is off to a great start. Everybody's watching and debating and talking about it. What did you think when you found out you got cast as Coco in the show?
Oh my God, it felt like a dream come true because I'd been struggling with like wanting to have my activism like be a function, like have my art somehow have my activism within it, and somehow this beautiful project comes and is like a gift, and I'm like, I want this job, oh my God. But then I walked in there, I kind of claimed it and was like, no, this is mine. Like I asked for this, I wanted this in my life, and I definitely want to be a part of a project that speaks out against social injustice of every kind. So like it felt like a dream. I like totally cried. I was like, I'm
Of course.
If you see the video, he could show it to you. It's hilarious.
Really? You saved that video when you
Oh my
found
God.
out.
He told me to turn my webcam on, good or bad, I would have the experience.
Wow.
I turned it on, and then I was talking to my agent for like 10 minutes, forgot that it was on, and then he gave me this huge lie about like how I didn't get it and da-da-da. But he didn't say it in those words. He was like, you know, the other girl, you know, she was nominated for a Tony, and I don't know how to, you know, and I was like, no, just rip the Band-Aid off. He's like, yes, but you got this. He was like, ah! And, like, it was hilarious, but it was nuts.
Amazing.
I love it. And Coco's character is she's so electrifying. I think there's a reason why people love her. She's so balanced. You know, sometimes she's like prissy, but she's really intelligent, and she's also very vulnerable at times too. What do you love about Coco the most?
I love the fact that although she's misunderstood, it's nice to get to see the woman behind the force, like that vulnerable little girl who's wounded, and that's why she became that force of a being, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see that, because I feel like women, especially women of color, sometimes get labeled as the angry black woman, and people don't take the time to try to understand like that there's pain there, and that you should try to be a little bit more understanding as to why someone might be the way that they are. So it's so beautiful to see who she is in the beginning, and then you get to see that metamorphosis, and you get to, oh my God, I have an understanding as to why she has the feelings she does about herself, the way that she does, and why she views herself the way that she does because of trauma in her youth. So I love Coco.
Yeah,
So I was like, I hope you guys love Coco too. And then when people say they do, I'm like, oh my God, this is nuts.
Yeah, because it's complex.
Yeah.
And so let's take a step back. Just the idea of a show called Dear White People, of course, it can become the center of controversy, or people have questions about what is the intent of the show.
Yeah.
What do you think this show is meant to do in a time like this, in 2017, where race is really a huge part of the national discussion?
What do I think the show is meant to do? I know Justin, and I know his intentions are to make sure that the voices of the people who feel marginalized in this country are heard. And you hear, I'm sure you can find different people that you know that you can hear their voices through every single one of these characters, because they're universal and they're dynamic and they're multi-dimensional characters. They're just well crafted and created. These aren't just students of color. They're intricate beings, and we find that, you know, as people of color, sometimes you get kind of painted as one thing. You're black, and that's it. So in a world where we need to bridge understanding and have more compassion for one another, it's nice to have that perspective. In on a whole, it's just a beautiful experience, because there are people who are struggling with their sexuality, there are people who are struggling with colorism, self-hatred issues. I mean, all of the above, and I think we're all kind of trying to navigate this world and figure out where we fit in and who we are versus who the world wants us to be, and are we a combination of both, or are we neither, you know? Mm-hmm. So I think we definitely need a show like this that bridges that gap of understanding.
Now, the title of the show kind of had some controversy for some reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what did you think about that pushback? People kind of having gripe with the title of the series.
It's interesting because the date announcement, I want to say for the first time, I've never been one to look at things like at face value. I've always kind of looked to see the reasoning behind things. That's who I am. So when I got this script, I didn't think anything of it. I just was like, okay, this is something that it means something, and the 3 words, some people might be offended by them. I don't understand why, because if it said Dear John, I don't know, why would you be mad? If it said Dear Antoinette, like, why would you be so upset? But I get it. It's incendiary. People get upset because they don't. People get fearful of things that they don't understand. And if you don't understand it, you think it's an attack on you. But when you take that moment and you say, you know what, let me check this out. Let me not judge this and kind of get an idea of where they're coming from. And you realize it's not about white people at all. It's about these students. These students of color that are navigating a world where they are a black face in a white place. That's what it is. And we see so much of the opposite, that it's just kind of refreshing to see their stories and what they're going through.
It's definitely refreshing. We actually just ran an op-ed from a writer who she did this entire breakdown of the show, and she said, "Dear white people, it's not perfect, but it's revolutionary." And she felt your character, of all the characters, meant the most to her. She said, "For dark-skinned women, some of the more empowering moments come in episode 4, which follows Coco's perspective. Coco and I are not of the same upbringing, or do we make the same choices, but I have never seen such an on-screen, beautiful, dark-skinned woman with unquestionable intellectualism and ambition. She is more than just a sassy bit character, the type that we see all too frequently on TV with little storyline and all too many slapstick and ignorant one-liners. She is a romantic interest with a complicated plot."
Wow.
How does that feel to hear that? That's
Goosebumps, right?
Mandy Harris Williams, one of our writers, posted that story, and she just, again, your character, she felt was doing something that was really revolutionary and different from what we see on TV.
Wow. Yeah, because it's as black women, I know all too well that we get painted with one color, and there's so many different shades of blackness. There's so much to us. We're so complex. We're so intricate, and we're more than this or that. We're more than the sassy best friend. You know, we're intellectual beings. We're also sexual beings, but we're not just that. Like, we could be the next Michelle Obama if we wanted to be, and we could, you know, get dressed up and be gorgeous and vulnerable the next time. I mean, like, or we could have cornrows and, you know what I mean? Like,
do it all.
It's like, why do we have to fit into one tiny little box? Like, and I feel like on a whole, the entertainment industry, you know, it's getting way better, of course. But, and again, when I saw the character, I was like, oh my God, please give me a chance, because I know I can do this. I know I can. Because, like, Coco to me means, like, hey, this is who we are. And whether you agree with her decisions or not, you have an understanding of how the world that she's in could create the mindset that she has. And if you have that understanding, then you'll be more compassionate towards the choices that she makes, with the understanding that we're all learning and growing. So, like, when I saw it on the page, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is a dream. It's a gift. So I can't believe she wrote that about Coco. But I'm like, it's unreal.
She loves it. We love it. If you're just tuning into the Grio Live, we're here with Antoinette Robertson, the one and only Coco on Dear White People. Folks are tuning into our comments. Lots of love for you. Camille Vaughn says, "So proud of you, my love." Lots of exclamation points.
Yes, family.
I love black folk. Always checking in. Like, shout out to my cousin. I love it. This one comes from Patrick Orman. He says, "Antoinette Robertson is a great actress." And Linda Casey says, "Dear white people, keep your hands off my hair. No, you do not have the right to touch me." All sorts of
Let them know.
comments and ideas coming in.
Right. And getting to know you better, you have a very interesting story. You actually majored in chemistry.
Yes.
And then you ended up being an actress. Tell us about that.
So nuts. In life, you think you know what's going to happen, right? You think you have everything planned out, and then your best friend, Boomy, tells you to take an easy A theater class, and you take it, and you're like, oh my God, I'm in love with this. What do I do now? So I kind of like juggled both at the same time, and didn't tell either. I mean, I couldn't tell people in the chemistry department. I was like, oh, I'm interested in acting. You know what I mean? And I couldn't tell the actors that I was a chemistry major, so I kind of like kept it on the hush hush. And realized that I fell in love with it because I'd never really felt that kind of freedom of expression before. And decided that if I were going to spend the rest of my life in a lab, I'd probably be miserable. So if I was going to try it, I needed to go hardcore and fight for my dream. And Lord, I'm on television. I can't. It's so nuts. I don't even, I can't even imagine me working in as a chemist right now. Like, what are you talking about? I'd be watching this show, Dear White People, like, man, that's a cool role. Not knowing that, like, in an alternate parallel universe, I could have done that if I really gave myself a shot. So I'm happy that I did.
Speaking of surreal,
That's
you
powerful.
also worked with Tyler Perry.
I did.
You star in The Have and the Have Nots. Tell us about working with him. How is it being on Tyler Perry Studios? I hear it's like no other.
Oh no, it's definitely like Tyler Perry's a genius. So when people people take shots at the haves has its own audience, and he's quite brilliant. And the way that he does things, like, people don't quite understand. Like, he's found his niche. He's found the people who love his show, and he caters to them. That's it, the end. That's what you're going to get. You're going to get what they love. But the thing with that show is that it taught me to be on it with they shoot so fast.
Wow.
I mean, the kind of fast that you will never see anywhere else in the industry ever. And because of that, like, he's no nonsense. You need to be on your game. You need to be off book. You need to be ready to change anything at the drop of the hat, because he's the writer, the director, and he can change the lines in a moment. It doesn't matter if you spend however long memorizing it. The whole thing could change in that moment. He's like, no, I want you to say this. I want you to say that. Change those lines. Wait, add this to that, and you got to be on it.
Improvisation, just on the
So,
spot.
like, I feel like that was like boot camp, and it kind of prepared me for DWP, because Dear White People gives me, like, maybe, I want to say 7 pages in a day. And TPS is like 8 times that much or more than that, essentially. So it's like soap work, kind of like it's like a soap opera, so to speak. So we shoot. So when they give me 7 pages of Coco, I was like, oh, I can play. We have table reads. I mean, like, Justin is like, how do you feel about this? And I'm like, oh my God, we're having this dialogue about, like, creating this character together, and, like, to have that kind of environment for an artist is such a beautiful thing, to, like, have the creator, executive producers say, how do you feel about this? We're creating this woman together. And then to have that positive reinforcement to say, yo, I think that your instincts are spot on with her. Like, you're right. Like, this is it. Like, just do you. And I'm like, oh my God, I get to play. It's awesome. I love it.
What do you think of this era where we're sort of seeing a renaissance in appreciation for Black writers and directors and shows? Some people are hoping that it's not something that comes and goes, right? And that it really is sustainable. But what do you think, working from a Tyler Perry, someone like Tyler Perry, to Justin Simien, two different,
Completely different, yeah.
different approaches.
Yeah.
What do you think about this time that we're in right now?
Okay, so I am embracing this time where people of color are getting the ultimate shine. What I can say about it is I hope it's not cyclical. I hope that it's not just a fad, like, oh my God, Moonlight won, let's, have another Black show, and not really pay attention to the content of the show, because I feel like there are instances where you can be set up for failure, because it's quite possible that's not necessarily the direction that company might really want to go in. They kind of want to prove that doesn't work. You know what I mean? So, and not everyone, of course, there are people who are willing to give people of color an opportunity, but there are going to be instances where I urge people, especially artists, to, like, really be on your game, like, be about the art of it and add to the artistry of it, and not just be a part of it to consume it and just put things out there just to put things out there, because these are real stories that we're telling, and it needs to be honest. And if we're going to really do it, then do it. I don't half-ass anything. Like, I wasn't, you know what I mean? I didn't go to school just to get a random, I was like, okay, I'm going to do chemistry because ultimately I want my own skincare line, my own perfume. Like, there needs to be a method to your madness with everything that you do. And when it comes to art, something that we're so blessed to do, there are people who go to jobs that they hate every day. And you get blessed to really do what you love. Like, be honest. Just be honest. That's all I'm asking. Be honest and, like, pursue growth consistently with whatever you do, because I feel like as a whole, people of color, like, show people what you got. Like, we have the time right now. Like, it could be domination if we all support each other and understand that community builds. Like, it's not just you get on. No. Like, you win, I win. Like, you're my sister. Like, that's how I feel. So I feel like on a whole, like, if people understood that, like, we need to really collaborate more, and we really need to, like, there's no judging, no trying to be better than no. It's if I can help you grow, boo, I got you. Like let's figure this out together. I feel like if we do that, this will be long standing. It won't just be a well, I got a show. She got to figure out her own life. You know what I mean? Like I'm writing my own stuff now. So like I feel like I'm inspired by Issa.
Right? Powerhouse.
Issa. Like I mean,
So
between
amazing.
her and Michaela Cole, like they're writing, they're producing, and they're creating more work for like other women of color. I mean, also all minorities actually, but like on a whole. So like if we walk in our power with the understanding that we can do, create, and be anything that we want, then the world will truly see that we're forces to be reckoned with.
Ooh, she
I
just
believe.
said a word
She
right
ain't here
there.
preaching, y'all.
We didn't even really need to say anything. Is there anything else that really needs to be said? I
No,
mean,
not
I think
at
that's
all.
just
But
perfection.
you're experiencing like this glow up, and
Yeah.
and we see it and we feel you have great energy. What do you want next for your career? It's still a young career, but it's things are happening right now for you.
Yeah, where else can we see you? And where can I buy your makeup skin line? Because
Oh my
you still
God.
got
That's it.
that chemistry
Because
back out.
that's funny because I'm actually I just finished the 10th episode of the series that I'm writing. I'm super excited about that. So like after I finish the press run with Dear White People, I'm gonna start pre-production for that. So I'm super excited.
Awesome.
And since Netflix is my family, we can figure out it having a home there first before anywhere else, which is great to know that I could have somewhere where it could live. But we need to get through production first. And I started working on my skincare line as well, which is funny because I should have been doing it at the same time, but my thought process was like, I have to put every fiber of my being into acting because it's very difficult to, first of all, book a series and then book more than one at a time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or even like something that you really, really, really are passionate about. So I wanted to give that all of my attention first and foremost,
Amazing.
which is
Wow.
nuts.
Good things
Antoinette
happening.
The
Robinson.
glow up. I can't wait for
We
it.
Because she's
love it.
glowing.
Yeah.
I can't.
Well, we will be
It's
cheering
the
you
New York
on
humidity.
every step of the way.
Yes.
And shout out to the Bronx as well, which is
Shout
where you are
out to
from.
the Bronx and Jamaica. I'm an
Yeah.
And
island
Jamaica.
girl.
I love
Yes.
Jamaica.
Absolutely. We're so excited to see what you're doing with the show and also where you're going to go. I can't wait to check out. I hope that show gets picked up. It sounds great.
Well, thank
Absolutely.
you.
If you haven't checked it out, Dear White People, it's on Netflix. Everybody's talking
Go see
about
This
it.
weekend, it's a
Go see
holiday
it.
weekend. You have no excuse.
Binge
No,
watch
it's a
as
binge.
much as you can.
Only 5 hours. Only 5 or half an hour.
That's nothing.
You can get through it. It's nothing. Cakewalk.
Antoinette Robertson, the one and only. Thanks
Yes,
for
thank
stepping
you so
into the
much.
Grio
Oh my God,
Live.
thank you so much for having me. Thanks,
Awesome.
guys.
Thanks for
Yeah.
tuning in, guys.
Bye. Have a great weekend.